Imagine stepping into a world where, the very idea of reality just kind of bends.
Uh-huh.
Where the chaotic bluster of some online show somehow intertwines with, like, the haunting rhythms of hip hop and the cold vastness of interdimensional conflicts.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. It's this sprawling, unsettling narrative that truly makes you pause and, well, question everything.
It absolutely does. And today, we're diving deep into precisely that. An incredibly intricate and interwoven narrative that, yeah, challenges our understanding of storytelling and maybe even what we perceive as real.
That's right. We've been handed this stack of sources for this deep dive. It's a fascinating mix, really. Fragments, analytical reports, even audio transcripts.
A real puzzle box.
Totally. They all seem to document what you could only describe as a multi-layered saga. So our mission today is to sift through this rolling madness, I think some sources called it,
That sounds about right, yeah.
to extract the most important insights. We'll explore this descent from seemingly absurd entertainment into something, well, far more profound and, frankly, dangerous.
And to really unravel this, we'll be focusing on three key pillars. There's the infamous Mike's Waffensack's MWF podcast,
Right.
the mysterious Doza Crew music, and then these chilling reports from a distant planet known as Regulus 5.
And look, this isn't just about unraveling some intricate fictional universe for its own sake,
Well, it's more than that.
This deep dive is really about understanding how narratives, any narratives, can subtly entangle you, make you question your own perception, and how even the most outlandish tales might echo some surprisingly unsettling truths about our own world.
Yeah, the resonance is key.
So get ready for some truly unexpected aha moments, maybe. Things that might just change how you look at the stories unfolding around you. Let's try and unpack this fascinating puzzle.
Okay, so to truly get the gravity of this narrative's descent, we have to start at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
With the Mike's Waffensack podcast itself.
MWF.
From its earliest episodes, the sources are crystal clear. MWS established an aggressive feel right from the get-go.
Absolutely. The descriptions talk about it being incredibly loud, and not just like bad audio quality.
No, I'm intentional.
It was a deliberate auditory assault. Raw rock music, sudden explosions, machine gun sounds. It was all intentionally engineered for maximum dramatic effect, a calculated shock tactic.
Exactly. This extreme approach was designed for pure action entertainment, but with surprising, often dark, humorous twists. Analysts actually describe this style as using extreme dialectic means.
Dialectic means.
Yeah, leveraging loudness, chaos, provocation. It speaks to a fascinating cultural undercurrent, this pervasive fascination with the borderline and unpredictable in entertainment, consciously pushing boundaries just for impact.
And you really saw that chaotic foundation in play from the very start. Early episodes like Chaos and Corn or Panzer Tape and Particle Cannon, they set that tone immediately.
They really did.
You even have Mike in one early episode toasting to senseless discussions and bad decisions. It was clear from day one this wasn't going to be your typical podcast.
Definitely not. And a prime example of this deliberate absurdity is the P canon of death in the hamster horoscope.
The hamster horoscope.
Yeah. Mike would famously derive his predictions from hamster droppings, declaring things like a fecal comet warns of hairy creatures. Utterly bizarre.
Wow. Okay.
But what's truly bizarre and kind of telling is how he'd then connect these utterly illogical, scatological predictions to dangers and new weapons, reinforcing his singular, almost, deranged obsession.
So this isn't just a quirky, loud show then. This foundational chaos and deliberate provocation, it really laid the groundwork for a deeply concerning escalation, didn't it?
Absolutely. It raises that critical question.
Yeah.
How permeable is that boundary between mere entertainment and something far more genuinely dangerous?
And it seems the answer is very permeable.
Tragically, yes. The narrative shows us that boundary becomes terrifyingly porous. The show's recklessness intensified significantly over time. Sources pinpoint a rocket backpack test in the studio as a pivotal moment, around episode 165, where things truly started to spiral.
A rocket backpack in the studio.
In the studio, yeah.
Okay. And from there, it just kept escalating. Later on, a firecracker thing actually injured Rickard, his co-host.
Right. Physical harm.
But the peak of this escalation, according to the sources you shared, was this particularly infamous episode. It featured a ninja granatine, whatever that is, and dubious potions that allegedly led to delusions and even coma, all captured on live camera.
Live camera. Just imagine the sheer reckless abandon of that happening during a live broadcast. It's hard to fathom.
Indeed. Mike's profound disregard for consequences became his defining characteristic during this period. It led to this complete blurring of the line between calculated provocation and real danger.
And wasn't there that supplier figure involved? Schwatten.
Ah, yes, Schwatten, the mysterious figure, the show's enigmatic supplier. He constantly provided increasingly wild stuff, which only served to fuel this dangerous recklessness.
And what's interesting is it didn't even start with just like big, obvious weapons.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's a good point. Schwatten also supplied seemingly petty items, like a water pistol. Mike apparently wanted to shoot at neighbors' cats.
Classy.
Right. But then these items, initially presented with this humorous veneer, they steadily evolved into tangible threats, like an anti-conspiracy helmet, a tinfoil hat disentangler, believe it or not.
A tinfoil hat disentangler. Okay.
It's the subtle but significant shift, from pranks to genuine peril.
And this blurring of lines, it wasn't just in the stunts, was it? There was that episode, Goulash Cannons Before Waterloo.
Ah, yes. Where Mike humorously claimed a goulash cannon could fire, 500 meters? Ridiculous, obviously.
Yeah, clearly a joke. But later there was a significant shift, wasn't there? He started to praise dictators like Napoleon or Hitler for their leadership.
That's right. And these statements were often made with alcohol involved, which creates this deep ambiguity. Was it satire? Or was it genuinely influenced by his massive alcohol consumption?
That's where the comedy really starts to curdle into something much darker, much more uncomfortable.
Exactly. And the consequences became undeniably real. One report even documented Mike's alcoholized escape from a hospital.
After what? An experimental plasma launcher incident.
That's the one. The sources paint this stark picture of a chain of really bad decisions. Mike attempting ninja training in his hospital room.
Wait, ninja training in hospital?
Yeah, leading to chaotic scenes and him apparently rolling down the stairs like an uncontrolled ball.
Oh my goodness. It truly speaks to a character completely out of control.
This consistent pattern of just pushing boundaries, exceeding limits, it not only became the defining characteristic of MWF style, but it tragically set the stage for the show's ultimate unraveling. A point where personal and physical consequences became just unavoidable.
Which inevitably brings us to the shifting, often toxic dynamics among the characters themselves.
Yeah, the human element under pressure.
Okay, so let's dig into the people at the heart of this chaos. The sources point out that the roles of the hosts, which were once somewhat distinct, became increasingly distorted over time.
He really did.
Mike's behavior grew more manipulative. Rickard's paranoia intensified dramatically. And Romanka, who started as the steady, quiet anchor, showed growing signs of just resignation and profound frustration.
It's like the show's own chaos started to consume its creators from the inside out.
So let's start with Mike. How is he depicted?
Consistently as choleric, weapon-obsessed, and alcohol-dependent. That's the core description. His boasts span from these bizarre homemade weapons to acquiring very real assault rifles like the Heckler & Koch G36.
Which he got through dubious channels from Schwatten, right?
Exactly. From Schwatten.
And he also holds this almost obsessive reverence for his father, Gasbold, quoting his absurd survival tips and heroic deeds like they're gospel.
Yes, like unquestionable authority. And Mike just keeps pushing the limits, igniting those ninja granaten or forcing others to consume what he calls mind-altering substances like the male trank.
Flower drink sounds innocuous, but clearly wasn't.
Not at all. His perception of reality progressively blurs. The sources mention vivid hallucinations of Graph Paste and Luna on Regulus 5.
Wow, connecting directly to the other parts of this puzzle.
Precisely. His character is painted as a kind of caricature of an idealized masculinity, this warped reflection that he both embodies and paradoxically mocks.
And his communication style.
Yeah.
Selling worn socks as bioweapons on the darknet.
Yeah, that underscores his utterly unbridled and unfiltered approach. And the pervasive massive alcohol consumption throughout the show consistently lowers inhibitions, making it increasingly difficult for the audience, and probably for the other hosts, to discern satire from what might be genuine, if disturbed, beliefs.
Okay, so that's Mike. Then we have Rickard, the skeptical sidekick.
Right, Rickard. He's constantly introducing these outlandish, absurd theories, everything from weather manipulation using goulash cannons to the alien technology of the Soldatenstaffel, or SSS, which he claimed was planning a Mars invasion 2035. He was definitely the conspiracy theorist of the group.
And he seemed to bear the brunt of the physical chaos, too.
He frequently did, famously vomiting on Mike in multiple episodes or suffering from explosions in his pants, which sounds painful.
To say the least.
These incidents can be interpreted maybe as a grim, almost physical manifestation of the escalating dangers in the studio.
And he becomes increasingly convinced he holds some hidden truth, talking about veils falling.
Yes, seeing things clearer. What's particularly alarming, though, is Rickard's escalating paranoia, coupled with his later seemingly genuine concern that Mike is losing touch with reality.
So the conspiracy theorist starts worrying about the host's grip on reality. That's telling.
It's a deeply alarming indicator, as one source puts it, of just how far off the rails the show had veered. It suggests that even the most outlandish theories, when you're swimming in that kind of chaos, might start to feel real, or maybe even hold a kernel of truth.
And finally, Romanka, the sound engineer, the quiet anchor.
Romanka, portrayed as the undisputed voice of reason. He's frequently described as annoyed and openly concerned about the escalating chaos.
He expressed clear disapproval of the weapons and Mike's dangerous stunts. Right, even exclaiming, "This is madness," at one point.
He did, a sentiment I think many listeners might share when hearing about this stuff. But he was often mocked as a wimp by Mike, partially, apparently, due to his preference for black metal music.
Which Mike called epileptic hamster noise.
Oh, charming.
Yeah.
Romanka's suppressed frustration ultimately boils over. It culminates in his dramatic resignation and immediate termination in a later episode.
How did that happen?
He vehemently slams his microphone on the table and just leaves the recording. This pivotal moment is explicitly interpreted in the sources as a moral statement, a definitive drawing of the line.
A breaking point.
Exactly. His departure is highlighted as a turning point for the podcast. Some sources theorize that losing Romanka's stabilizing factor within that chaotic dynamic may have actually accelerated Mike's further descent.
It raises that question, doesn't it? What happens when the last voice of reason just walks away?
Precisely.
So as you can see, the increasingly strained, toxic relationships among the characters didn't just reflect the show's spiraling nature, they really drove its trajectory. It shifted from what might have started as a staged performance into an increasingly dangerous, uncontrolled, and ultimately self-destructive reality.
And this self-destructive path was profoundly influenced, maybe even guided, by that enigmatic figure we mentioned earlier, Schwatten.
Ah, yes, Schwatten, the supplier.
He's introduced early on as a shadowy, threatening, and ominous figure who serves as Mike's mysterious weapon supplier.
And he consistently provides increasingly dubious, questionable, and sophisticated devices. Right. The sources describe him as a researcher willing to take extreme risks.
Or indeed to let others take them, for the sake of progress. That's the key phrase. We see him compelling Mike to test destructive prototypes, exhibiting no remorse, and explicitly forbidding Mike from even discussing the resulting destruction.
It's truly chilling, that casual disregard for consequence, almost psychopathic.
Schwatten's calm, almost clinical distance from the ensuing chaos, coupled with how he evaluates destruction as mere collateral damage, but with immense potential. It strongly suggests that for him, disruption is not the end, but perhaps only the beginning.
Or a necessary evil on the path to whatever his idea of progress is.
Exactly. And what's particularly fascinating and really gives us pause here is that historical link you mentioned earlier to Mike's ancestor, Mike Fried Liebman, in the 15th century.
Right. Ancient documents indicating Mike Fried also acquired goods from a figure named Schwatten the merchant.
That's incredible, isn't it? It implies his deep-rooted, potentially generational connection to these patterns of chaos and manipulation we're seeing play out in the present day.
Schwatten's influence is just pervasive. He appears across so many of the MWF episodes we have records of. There's that incident with a futuristic apparatus he supplied.
Yeah, causing massive destruction in the studio. And Mike appears visibly intimidated, while Schwatten remains utterly unperturbed, calmly taking notes.
It's such a stark contrast. It really highlights Schwatten's cold, calculating nature. It's unnerving.
And beyond the large-scale destruction, Schwatten is also responsible for supplying more bizarre yet equally unsettling items, like a radioactive cocktail, pepper perfume.
Pepper perfume? What even is that?
Who knows? And a mutant machete. His role is unequivocally pivotal. He is actively driving the escalation of dangerous technology and profoundly blurring the very lines of reality, positioning him as the central, enigmatic force behind the whole unfolding narrative.
So what we're seeing here is less a random series of escalating events,
and a more deeply embedded, almost cyclical pattern of manipulation. It suggests certain forces might operate beyond individual lifespans. It's almost as if history isn't just rhyming, it's repeating itself, perhaps by design.
Okay, so let's shift our gaze now. From the immediate chaos of the studio to something far more vast and, well, unsettling, this cosmic connection. A key player in this larger puzzle is Regulus 5.
Regulus 5, depicted as an incredibly chaotic and contradictory planet. Its inhabitants show profound signs of neglect and exhaustion.
So?
They're described with tattered clothing, vacant or sorrowful gazes, and minimal to non-existent interaction. Just empty.
In their language.
Severely impaired. Speech is fragmentary, distorted, or incoherent. There's a discernible loss of clear language, generalized language confusion. They're afflicted by a loss of memories, clear thinking, and emotional connection.
It's described as chaos and confusion in the head and the fading of reality, right?
Precisely. While not overtly aggressive, the inhabitants radiate this deep inner torment. The planet itself, sometimes called Regal 5, is described as inherently chaotic. One phrase translates to something like starry chaos, and profoundly contradictory, almost as if it defies all logic and stability.
This pervasive state points to a deep systemic breakdown, doesn't it? Affecting everything physical, mental, social spheres, where predictability and stability have just vanished.
It implies a deeper, more insidious influence at play than just, say, a simple disease. Though one expedition report does explicitly confirm the existence of infected individuals on Regulus 5.
Substantiating those accounts from the Nova crew about a terrible disease that turns living beings into mindless monsters.
Exactly, it links those reports together.
And all this widespread decay and suffering on Regulus 5, it's directly attributed to one figure.
A brutal aggressor named Graph Paste. He's portrayed as the most powerful and evil ruler his world has ever known.
His list of titles is terrifying. Brilliant scientist, powerful magician, unscrupulous politician, cruel tyrant, sadistic torturer, narcissist, and deceiver. Basically the ultimate personification of evil.
Pretty much sums it up. His ultimate objective is chillingly clear: to subdue, torment, and ultimately destroy the world. That's quite the villain, as you said.
Indeed. And there's music connected to him, too.
Yes, the Pasta track, believed to be by or attributed to Graph Pace himself. It features highly aggressive lyrics, rude and loud, rapped with fury, hard lyrics full of curses and blood, asserting, "I am the king."
So his self-portrayal matches the descriptions. A deliberate, almost theatrical display of malevolence.
It seems so. And the Nova crew's own logbook links Graph Pace to an end-boss catastrophe and a sun on the verge of exploding, which paradoxically leads to a wormhole that transports them to Regulus 5.
Inadvertently setting the stage for his perceived reign there. Wow.
Strange twists of fate, or maybe not fate at all.
And what about the mysterious portal above Regulus 5? The Doza crew calls it a poison.
Starkly labels it a poison in their track Regulus Rift. They describe it as a hole that no human understands, one that is devouring breath and hope, and unequivocally a trap.
Which is a stark contrast to how the Nova crew initially saw Regulus 5, right? As a paradise ruled by a just king pace.
A complete contradiction. It strongly suggests that everything is illusion on Regulus 5, pointing to a deeply manipulative nature of the location itself.
And Mike's own hallucinations link Graph Paste to Regulus 5 and someone named Luna with the warning, "Luna, don't trust."
Yes, it reinforces this idea that Regulus 5 isn't just a planet, it's a complex, deceptive entity. A central stage for this escalating cosmic conflict where reality itself is unstable.
And speaking of cosmic connections and potential manipulation, let's bring in Grindman Frieden's work, their Explore Division Virgo Vision Unit Regulus report.
Right. That report meticulously documents observations on Regulus 5, unequivocally confirming the presence of those infected individuals.
But despite classifying the situation as complex and highly disturbing, Grindman decides to keep their findings internal, citing financial risks and uncertainty.
Yeah, which is noted in the analysis too. Sounds suspiciously like covert agents are involved. Something's being hidden.
This profound secrecy, maintained even when facing such extreme planetary conditions, strongly hints at a deeper, possibly nefarious agenda, doesn't it? Or just a deliberate cover-up.
Absolutely. The source material speculates on a connection between Grindman's technology, like their plasma cannons, and a pervasive sulfur smell on Regulus 5.
That sulfur smell again.
Right, though it remains pure speculation without direct evidence. It's intriguing how a specific sensory detail like that smell becomes this recurring, ominous thread across disparate reports.
What's particularly notable here, though, is that Grindman explicitly collects Doza crew material, song lyrics, audio recordings in an annex to their report.
Yeah, that's huge. This collection implies that the music itself might contain a key to understanding the orbital portal, or the dire condition of the population on Regulus 5. It further intertwines these seemingly disparate narratives, the corporate, the cosmic, the musical.
So Grindman-Frieden's work emerges as a crucial and complex player, not just an observer, but potentially an entity actively influencing or exploiting the situation on Regulus 5 for their own hidden objectives.
And this connects directly to the formidable presence of the Solar Soldatenstaffel, the SSS.
Ah, the SSS. Initially just one of Rickard's eccentric conspiracy theories involving alien technology and a grand Mars invasion.
Right. But they progressively transform into a very real, threatening organization. They are directly implicated in Rickard's abrupt arrest during that live episode.
Happening precisely as he was about to reveal critical information. The timing is just too perfect.
It really is. Furthermore, the SSS is actively hindering Grindman's research on Regulus 5.
So they're operating both in the studio and on Regulus 5.
A dual presence points to a deliberate, deeper connection. It suggests a larger interstellar conflict in which they function as a powerful force of control and suppression.
And their involvement in those mass arrests during another show, described as enforcers, arrestors, agents of control.
It vividly illustrates their alarming efficiency and arbitrary exercise of power, and Rickard's dramatic physical reaction to them, that deep rumble from the sky, prompting him to scream, "They are here, I always said it," that powerfully solidifies their undeniable and very real threat.
It's that chilling moment where his long-held conspiracy theories crash into sudden, brutal reality.
Exactly. And their advanced weaponry, particle cannons, supposedly solar-powered and super penetrating, they're mentioned explicitly, further blurring those lines between sci-fi and present reality within the narrative.
The SSS really embodies the escalating stakes of the whole saga, doesn't it? And the pervasive suppression of truth. They directly link the podcast's internal drama to this grander cosmic struggle. Their influence is felt across dimensions.
It really makes you wonder about the nature of coincidence in a universe this interconnected, or if coincidence even exists here.
Let's transition now into the digital realm, specifically with the Doza Crew.
Okay.
They're a German hip-hop group, and their distinctive music is closely linked to the dystopian and complex events unfolding within this whole MWF universe.
Their tracks serve a crucial role, right? Not just a soundtrack, but like a musical chronicle, a primary source for these unfolding events.
Exactly. Their lyrics offer these profound insights into abysses, madness, and lost dreams. It's heavy stuff.
Their music is interpreted as a kind of trip into confusion, a cry for redemption. Yet it also hints at an underlying resistance or calculation embedded within the chaos.
And there's speculation that Mikkel, maybe Mike himself, is a close collaborator. His laughs and sneezes are supposedly woven into the beats.
Yeah, suggesting his music might mysteriously foreshadow the chaos to come. That's another strange layer.
Tracks like Durstnot, Thirst Distress, which explicitly discusses excessive drinking. That's noted as strangely relevant to Mike's disappearance, isn't it?
It is. And the fact that Grindman-Frieden's work actively collects their musical material just underscores this notion that the Doza Crew's music holds a deeper, perhaps encoded meaning, something vital to understanding the larger narrative.
So this music, it really transcends mere entertainment. It evolves into this vital, albeit often cryptic, record of an ongoing, multidimensional catastrophe. It's a truly unique source of information in this whole mess.
And central to the Doza Crew's narrative is this concept of the mainframe.
Right, the mainframe. Explicitly defined as a digital control system, a digital prison that has the alarming capacity to trap consciousness.
It's portrayed as operating akin to a digital hell. Tracks like Gefangen im Loop, Trapped in the Loop, effectively convey this profound feeling of digital captivity and endless repetition.
The crew describes themselves as trapped in the shadows of machines, living a digital life without real emotions. That's bleak.
This recurring theme extensively explores the severe loss of autonomy and identity within a technologically controlled world. Another track, Kaleidoscopic Dream, is interpreted as a powerful metaphor for the deeply disturbing experiences in the mainframe, suggesting that even internal mental states are being externally manipulated.
That's a chilling thought, that even your own thoughts might not be your own, that you're just code running in someone else's machine.
The track Jailbreak powerfully articulates the struggle to break free from captivity. It has these evocative lines like cables connecting, frequency explodes, our path pulls us from the depths of the net up to the matrix.
So even in the depths of this digital despair, there's resistance.
Despite the overwhelming sense of hopelessness, the lyrics consistently affirm that a spark of rebellion defiantly persists. The mainframe thus represents this subtle, yet pervasive and deeply insidious form of control. It serves as a chilling digital mirror to the broader themes of reality dissolution and systemic manipulation we see throughout the MWS universe.
Let's look at a couple of specific tracks that really highlight these emotional and existential themes. Verborgene Melody, Hidden Melody.
Right, that narrates a somber story of loneliness, coldness, silence, hinting at the tragic fate of an Erferenen man, a frozen man in the city. And there's a direct parallel drawn to the character Florian, who's associated with another group, GRD.
And in stark contrast, Lunatic. That describes the Nova Crew's desperate mission to save their dying world from graph paste.
Only to unexpectedly stumble into what initially appears to be an unsettling happy ending, which we know is likely not the case.
These narratives vividly highlight the profound internal struggles and pervasive existential despair woven into the very fabric of this saga, don't they?
They really do. And that paradise on Regulus 5 ostensibly reached through a wormhole after a cataclysm. It's starkly contradicted by the Nova Crew's own chilling warning. Luna, don't trust. Regulus 5 is a trap. Everything is illusion.
This inherent duality strongly implies a deeply deceptive and manipulative nature underlying the apparent reality. It's a classic narrative twist, but with truly cosmic implications here.
And the distinct characters of the Nova Crew themselves. Florian, the botanist always in herbal haze. Karina, the psychedelic Goa witch. Sanja, the passionate vegan elf. Christian, the stoic cyborg. They each embody unique approaches to navigating their desperate situation.
Their diverse responses to a world on the brink of collapse really underscore the varied ways individuals cope with and ultimately resist profound systemic breakdown. These specific tracks and character arcs, they infuse the overarching themes of destruction, deception, and the elusive search for freedom with significant emotional depth. It makes the narrative more relatable and impactful for you, the listener, hopefully.
And then there's the truly ambiguous figure of the Klabauterman.
The Klabauterman, from maritime folklore, right? A mischievous ship's spirit.
Traditionally, yes. But he undergoes this striking reinterpretation by the Doza crew. He emerges as an urban explorer, mythical warrior, digital navigator. He's depicted as a master of code, capable of slipping through firewalls.
So a digital entity now. And in the track Klabauterjarn, or story, the crew finds themselves trapped in the mainframe, and the Klabauterman is supposed to help.
He's said to know the way through data seas, to assist them in breaking digital grids. But this introduces a profound layer of complexity because of his inherent ambiguity. He's presented as a potential helper, a guide, yet he also serves a master. The lyrics reference, "My master of darkness, of your mighty power," which adds this unsettling layer of potential manipulation to his role. Who is this master?
That's a crucial question.
And he is explicitly haunted by the memory of a frozen man, which seems to be that allusion to Florian's tragic fate, suggesting a deeper personal burden tied to the overarching narrative.
So his capacity as both a guiding force and potentially a tool of an unknown malevolent power, it makes his influence highly questionable.
Absolutely. His allegiance and the master's hidden motives are described as completely obscure but sound ominous, casting this long shadow of uncertainty over his true intentions and the nature of the freedom he actually offers.
The Klabauterman thus embodies this pervasive struggle against hidden forces and the inherently uncertain nature of guidance within a world saturated with control. It leaves you, the listener, questioning the ultimate destination of the crew's escape. Is it genuine freedom or just another, perhaps more sophisticated form of entrapment?
A question with no easy answer, it seems.
Now let's turn our attention to Chiron, a figure whose presence seems to act as a profound catalyst, really accelerating the narrative's chaotic trajectory.
Chiron. Right. He steps in as Ramuka's replacement sound engineer in a later MWF episode.
And he's described as quiet, inconspicuous, mysterious, almost ghostly in his demeanor. He says he wants to work in the shadows and keep an eye on all signals.
His recruitment itself is framed as a risky choice, made despite the show's hosts having a bad feeling about him.
That right there is a significant red flag in any story, isn't it? A classic setup.
It really is. And what's even more telling is his barely perceptible smile observed during Rickard's traumatic arrest.
He smiled during the arrest.
A barely perceptible one, apparently. Immediately followed by him hastily packing his things. This strongly suggests a hidden agenda. He knew something was coming.
This behavior raises critical questions, obviously. Was he more than just a replacement sound engineer? Or maybe a figure intentionally connecting the studio to the unfolding Regulus 5 events?
And later, in a subsequent episode, a forensic analysis definitively confirmed that Kieram secretly tampered with the Grindman plasma cannon.
He tampered with the weapon.
Yes, and exhibited a sarcastic reaction when confronted, which is noted as behavior that doesn't fit simple nervousness. It suggests a deeper, more calculated involvement.
So Kieram's presence and actions seem pivotal, seemingly orchestrated with deliberate intent to escalate the already chaotic trajectory of MWF.
And the plot thickens considerably with Kieram's connections to Grindman technology and those strange anomalies on Regulus 5. Forensic sensors detected an unknown, unnatural radiation continuously emanating from Kieram.
Radiation from him.
Yes, leading to cautious comparisons to anomalies on Regulus 5, specifically referencing the place with the suspicious portal.
That's a truly unsettling detail. It connects him physically somehow to that place.
And his systematic manipulations of the Grindman technology occur shortly before Mike disappears, implying a direct causal link between his actions and Mike's ultimate fate.
This profound connection implies Kieram isn't merely a human technician, maybe an entity, or a sophisticated tool, capable of influencing the very fabric of reality itself.
His actions are suggested to have been a catalyst for something much bigger than Mike's fate, potentially triggering a full-scale interdimensional struggle.
And here's where it gets even more chilling. The Nova Cruz distress call, the one recovered on a hard drive.
Yes.
It explicitly mentions Kieram just before their transmission abruptly cuts out.
Wow. So he's implicated there too. It underscores his central, albeit ambiguous, role in their predicament, potentially functioning as a trigger for intervention, or maybe the cause of the cutoff itself.
Kieram thus acts as this chilling bridge, doesn't he? Connecting the seemingly contained chaos of the MWF studio directly to the cosmic conflicts unfolding on Regulus 5. It strongly hints at a larger pre-planned entanglement that pulls all these disparate threads together.
And adding yet another layer to Kieram's enigma is his music. His contributions to the Doza Crew tracks like The Edge and Westhold Warham, roughly Why, Therefore Why, they vividly depict themes of inner struggle, madness taking over, and a pervasive feeling of being lost in the city.
So he's portrayed as a suffering artist in his music, but simultaneously described as a potentially cynical or knowing actor within the MWF setting.
Exactly. This striking dichotomy prompts a fundamental question for you, the listener. Is his music a genuine, unvarnished expression of his internal state? Or is it a deliberate facade, meticulously crafted to manipulate audience perception?
The themes of madness, lost dreams, the choice of one's own path explored in his songs are directly linked to his mysterious actions or agenda at MWF. It's all intertwined.
The distorted vocals in Wesham Borum are noted to sound like a mental breakdown set to music, yet his demeanor during the MWF episodes remains that of a calm, inscrutable type in the background.
This stark contradiction is central to the enigma of his character. It's almost as if the artist is experiencing a torment his public persona completely conceals. Or maybe the persona is the torment.
Kieram's multifaceted portrayal deeply underscores the pervasive theme of deception and the inherent difficulty of discerning genuine truth in this complex and, often unsettling narrative.
Okay, now let's try and tie all these diverse threads together by examining the deep interconnections and these unsettling historical echoes woven throughout the saga.
The connections are key.
Let's start with the Doza Crew logbook, a critical item discovered by Mike and later discussed. He casually dismisses it as boring, right?
Yes, classic Mike deflection. However, Rickard's violent physical reaction, including intense vomiting, strongly indicates the logbook's chilling content.
Content which discusses Regulus 5 and a disease turning people into mindless monsters caused by graph paste, all the big themes.
Exactly. This logbook is explicitly described as a key, a node point, that possesses the capacity to even connect realities. It serves as a direct bridge between Mike's chaotic experiments at MWF, the advanced Grindman technology, and the cosmic events unfolding on Regulus 5.
Its consistent appearance across both MWF episodes and Doza Crew texts profoundly reinforces the interconnected nature of these seemingly disparate narratives. It keeps popping up.
And it gets even more compelling. That stress call from the Nova Crew, recovered on a hard drive, it directly addresses Mike, Rickard, urgently begging them to read the logbook,
unequivocally emphasizing its critical importance in understanding the broader crisis. This seemingly innocuous object unexpectedly emerges as a direct, tangible link. It unequivocally demonstrates that what appeared to be separate narratives are, in fact, integral parts of a single sprawling continuum. It really transforms the mundane into the pivotal.
And the source documents themselves contain explicit, dire warnings about the inherent risks of truth-seeking.
How so?
The act of opening what's referred to as the Grindman-Regulus envelope is depicted as a decisive step from which there is no turning back. It draws a direct comparison to opening Pandora's box.
Wow, so the analogy suggests that the very act of uncovering fragmented truths about Regulus 5 and Grindman tech can lead to real physical dangers that transcend mere intellectual understanding.
That's the implication. That some knowledge isn't just dangerous to know, it's dangerous to seek.
There's even a smart system saver program described as a data accumulator, subtly hinting at deliberate collection and potential weaponization of information.
And listen to this. An official document titled Disclaimer and Ontological Contextualization Explanation.
It's a mouthful.
It is. It actively messes with your perception of reality, playfully yet pointedly warning against imitating dangerous stunts like the rocket backpack tests using goulash cannons or engaging in massive alcohol consumption.
This deliberate ambiguity blurs the line between, legal protection for the creators and intricate narrative world building. It makes you question what's real, even within the disclaimers themselves.
And remember those English-speaking analysts, the ones now traumatized and on the run after inadvertently activating a Grindman device at some depot.
Yeah.
They explicitly issue a chilling warning to us, the people examining this material right now, not to seek Pandora's box. They caution, we saw what happens when you peek inside.
That's directed at anyone analyzing this. That's meta.
Very. And the ominous sulfur smell detected during their anomaly experience chillingly connects back to other MWF reports, unequivocally underscoring the very real and palpable nature of the perceived threat.
Which means the very act of engaging with and analyzing these source materials becomes an active component of the dangerous narrative itself. It progressively transforms you, the listener, from a detached observer into an entangled, potentially direct participant in the unfolding events, just by listening.
It's a deeply unsettling idea.
And as if that's not enough to chew on, those newly discovered archival documents reveal astonishing historical echoes to Mike's ancestors, specifically Mike Friedlaeben zu Pickelhausen from the 15th century.
Right. These ancient records describe remarkable deep similarities in character and behavior to modern Mike. Mike Fried was noted for being unruly and provocative, heavily drunk, causing widespread chaos, and consistently downplaying serious situations as mere dumb pranks.
It truly is like looking at a distorted mirror image across centuries. Uncanny.
And crucially, the historical documents explicitly state that Mike Fried also obtained a brandy from a certain Schwatten the merchant, forging that direct, documented historical link to the contemporary Schwatten figure.
This compelling evidence fundamentally challenges the initial assumption that Mike's grandiose stories about his ancestors were just pure fiction, doesn't it? It strongly suggests a documented historical basis for these patterns of behavior.
It really does. And the discovery of a tiny, brittle remnant of an old seal on a 1491 document bearing faint Grindman Regulus stampings, well, that creates either an unbelievably bizarre coincidence,
or more profoundly, hints at a connection spanning over 500 years between Grindman, Regulus, and the Schwatten-Lieberman dynamic.
These remarkable historical parallels suggest the pervasive chaos and manipulation within the narrative might not be random at all, but rather part of an ancient, perhaps predetermined pattern. It adds this chilling and profound layer to the contemporary events.
It makes you wonder about the nature of destiny, or maybe cycles, doesn't it? Are these characters just puppets in a much older play?
And finally, the source materials consistently draw you, the listener, directly into the narrative. They explicitly state things like, you're navigating it alone, and that the ultimate meaning lives with you.
There are mentions of unclear forces, unclear motives belonging to supporters in the hidden who somehow allow the loop of events to continue. Supporters of what? The chaos, the narrative itself.
It's unclear. This meta-narrative implies that the very act of analysis, the act of us doing this deep dive right now, might itself be a component of the overarching trap.
Or that the relentless pursuit of answers paradoxically perpetuates the cycle of events. The more we look, the more it happens.
That's one interpretation. The paradoxical experience of being drawn deeper into the rolling madness, while simultaneously being warned to maintain critical distance, is presented as a core, unsettling element of this whole narrative experience. It's a real mental tightrope walk.
And you see this engagement in the real world, too, in comment sections on Doza Crew videos.
Exactly. They demonstrate non-standard, potentially coded info being shared by users. And a crew's cryptic replies, like "the network is closing in," suggest a shared language or practice, an active decoding process occurring in real time among the audience.
It reveals the audience's active participation in what is described as a complex game. They're not just consuming, they're interacting, decoding, maybe even influencing.
So this deep dive, it really transcends a mere factual exposition, doesn't it? It functions as an explicit invitation for you, the listener, to actively confront the slippery nature of reality and to critically examine your own role in interpreting and potentially influencing the narratives around you.
Okay, wow, we've peeled back so many layers of this sprawling narrative, moving from the chaotic, almost juvenile antics of Mike's Waffen facts.
To interdimensional conflicts on Regulus 5, the digital confines of the mainframe, and these chilling historical echoes that seem to tie it all together, often through figures like Schwatten.
We've seen how catalysts like Schwatten and certainly Karam appear to orchestrate events or at least push them in certain directions, and how even the simple act of seeking truth can lead to deeper entanglement in this web.
This deep dive leaves us with a truly compelling puzzle, doesn't it? If the lines between fact and fiction are this porous, and if history repeats itself in such bizarrely specific ways, what does that say about the narratives we consume every single day?
Are we simply observers? Or are we too inadvertently participating in some kind of complex game where the truth constantly eludes us, maybe by design?
When is reality just a performance? And when does a performance bleed into reality, carrying real, undeniable, perhaps dangerous consequences?
Keep diving deep, keep exploring these connections, and maybe most importantly, keep questioning everything.